Alright guys, this is that time of the week and we are back for some Championship score predictions. Plenty to go through in today's video. If you happen to go to any Championship matches in midweek, make sure to let me know about them in the comments down below. Now I must stress, when you guys are watching this video, I will be away this week, so because of how the schedule has worked out, I've had to record this video before those midweek fixtures have taken place. So bear that in mind, you guys will have a bit of an advantage over me when predicting these this week. But the show must go on, let's jump into these score predictions. So starting out with the Friday night game at Loftus Road for QPR up against Derby. In the reverse fixture earlier in this season, Derby walked away with a 2-0 triumph, but it feels like quite a bit has changed with both clubs since that point. Generally speaking, home form has tended to be quite strong for QPR recently, and we all know about the struggles that Derby have had on the road this season, especially when it comes to consistently hitting the back of the net. They have been averaging less than a goal per game in away matches this season. To be honest, I can see this one being a fairly low scoring affair, but I do think it is QPR who I am edging it towards. If Derby can cause a few problems from a set piece or two, get in front in this game, then they could cause QPR some problems. But on the balance of probabilities, I'm going to go 1-0 QPR to kick off the weekend. Next up and into the first of the Saturday early kickoffs, we're going to Cardiff up against Bristol City. This one should be a fairly decent atmosphere. Now in recent history, this is a fixture that has favoured Cardiff. Bristol City have failed to beat Cardiff in their last 4 attempts. Earlier in the season, these two played out a 1-1 draw. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar sort of tight affair in this one, but generally speaking, Cardiff have been fairly decent at home recently, and it's been Bristol City's away form which has sort of been holding them back of late. They failed to win any of their last 8 away matches, although during that run Bristol City have had a few tough fixtures. Would not be surprised if this one ends level. I just think that maybe Cardiff could pull something out of the bag with them being at home and Bristol City continuing to have the odd struggle on the road. Score prediction in that one, I'm going to go 2-1 Cardiff. Next up we go to Oxford up against Portsmouth. Following back-to-back away matches, Oxford will probably be pleased to be back at the Kazam Stadium for this one, where they have had a really good record of late, but can they get the better of Pompey in this game? Looking at Portsmouth's upcoming fixture run-in, they've got some big games on the horizon, big head-to-heads against the likes of Luton and Plymouth, which we're only a few weeks away from. Oxford just don't lose many at home though, do they? Score prediction for me, I am favouring it towards Oxford. I'm going to go 1-0 to the home side in that one, but you never know, Pompey could pull off an upset, especially if they do get ahead early in that game. And then we go to Deepdale for my team, Preston North End up against Burnley. What will this Lancashire derby deliver? Well, in the reverse fixture earlier in the season at Turf Moor, it ended goalless, but a bit of drama in that game. Emil Rees did have the ball in the back of the net, but was wrongly flagged offside. Had that goal counted, who knows what would have gone on to happen. Now, it does scream of quite a tight, cagey, low-scoring affair, this one, doesn't it? One thing I'd definitely say about Preston as well is, especially in games at Deepdale, we do tend to rise to the occasion when playing some of the big boys. You know, we've taken points off the majority of them this season when playing them at home, and I mean, it's a real testament to the home record we've had under Paul Heckingbottom. In 15 league matches at Deepdale, we've only lost 1 of them under Hecky. But obviously, we're all well aware of the threats that Burnley will bring, and generally speaking, Burnley do tend to be a little bit more ruthless on the road than they can be at Turf Moor at times. Honestly, my head does say that Burnley probably nick this one, likely by a 1-goal margin, but I also can't shake the feeling that this one screams of a low-scoring draw as well. Score prediction, I'm going to go for a 0-0er, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if, to be honest, either team nicked that 1-0. Next up we go to Ewood Park for Blackburn up against Plymouth. Plymouth definitely have made themselves a bit more competitive recently, but I still can't look past their away form. They're the only Championship side yet to win away from home this season. 15 games, and they've only taken 4 points in away matches. Going away to a ground like Ewood Park, which has typically been a tough place to go so far this season, I think most people are probably going to have this one down as a Blackburn home win, aren't they? Now, in the reverse fixture, Plymouth did get the better of Blackburn, but they're just a different beast at home compared to away. With the amount of goals that Plymouth tend to ship in away matches, I do fancy Blackburn for a few in this one. Score prediction, I'm going to go 3-1 Blackburn. Next up we go to Hull up against Norwich. Hull season ticket holders really haven't had great value for money so far this season. While they have had some brilliant away days, I'm sure, they've only won 2 of their 16 home matches this far into the campaign, have by far far the worst home record in the league, and that's something that Norwich will obviously look to play on. Now, Norwich, to be fair, have been a little bit iffy on the road of late, but in saying that, they have had some pretty tough away fixtures of late, and I did a bit of a deeper dive into some of their away matches of late, and it is worth saying Norwich are unbeaten in their last 3 away matches against non-top 6 sides. So they've had away defeats recently against the likes of Leeds, Sheff Utd. They played Sunderland away not too long ago and lost all of those matches, but against the sides that are below them in the league, they tend to be fairly decent money for value on the road. I think both teams have got at least a goal in them in this game, but score prediction for me, I think I am edging it towards Norwich now. I'm going to go 2-1 to the Canaries on the road in that game. After that, we go to Kenilworth Road for Luton up against Sheffield United. How crazy is it to think that prior to this championship season kicking off, Luton were more fancied for promotion than Sheffield United were, not just by the general public but by the bookies as well, a lot of championship experts, and the chasm between them in the league right now in terms of overall points tally is absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? But do you know what? I actually don't think there'll be all too much in this game. Luton have a big few weeks coming up for them, looking at their upcoming fixture list. They've got back-to-back home games now, this one against Sheffield United. They then go into a massive clash against Plymouth, followed by a local derby away at Watford. So these next few weeks really will be a big momentum swinger perhaps for Luton. I think, to be honest, they'll be targeting points in all 3 of those matches. Sheffield United are the obvious favourites coming into this one, but I still think maybe they have a slip in them, especially on the road. Sheffield United haven't scored more than 2 goals in any away match so far this season, and I could see Luton getting at least 1 in this game. Score prediction between those two, I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw, you know, fancy Luton to maybe snatch a point against the Blades. After that, we go to the Riverside for Middlesbrough up against Watford. Now, obviously, I am having to record this prediction before Middlesbrough have travelled away to Sheffield United. By the time you guys are watching this, you'll know the outcome of that game, so that could definitely swing my potential prediction for this one. From a Watford perspective, they've really had a tough fixture running recently in terms of some of the matches they've had. You know, recently they've had games against the likes of Coventry, Norwich, Sunderland, Leeds. This one against Middlesbrough won't be easy. After this game, Watford's fixture list does ease up a little bit. The majority of their next sort of 6 or 7 matches are against sides currently in the bottom half, so you'd expect them to pick up a little bit in those sorts of matches. For this one away at the Riverside though, I am going to back Middlesbrough. I'm going to go 2-0 Borough in that game. After that, we go to the Den for Millwall up against West Brom. Now, in recent history between these two sides, if you want entertainment, this isn't the fixture for you. 3 of the last 4 head-to-head matches between Millwall and West Brom have ended goalless, which is absolutely ridiculous, including the reverse fixture at the Hawthorns earlier in the season. So, definitely feels like a low-scoring affair. Whoever scores first in this game, if there is a first goal, it feels does have a big advantage. Would not be at all surprised if this does end goalless or a 1-1 or something like that. West Brom not quite firing on all cylinders in away matches, especially of late. They've not won any of their last 8 games on the road. Alex Neil against Tony Mowbray feels quite tight as well, doesn't it? Just got a gut feeling that maybe Millwall can swing this one with home advantage. Score prediction, I'm going to go 1-0 Millwall in that game, but a low-scoring draw seems to be on the cards as well. Next up, we go to Hillsborough for Sheffield Wednesday up against Coventry. And you know what? I'm fancying a few goals in this game. Generally speaking, games that have taken place at Hillsborough this season have tended to be quite high-scoring. There's been an average of 3 goals per game in Sheffield Wednesday home matches this far into the campaign. Coventry bring an obvious attacking threat. They've won back-to-back away matches as well, scoring 2 goals in each of them. And for as good as Wednesday have been at times this season, their home form has been a little bit erratic. I think I'm right in saying that they've only won 2 of their last 8 home matches. Obviously, they're coming off the back of a couple of away matches. Back at Hillsborough now, and I'm fancying goals. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in that one. Fancy a few chances at either end of the pitch. Maybe they'll end up cancelling each other out. After that, we go to the Bet365 for Stoke up against Swansea. Mark Robins still looking for his first home league win in charge of Stoke. There have been quite a few draws in there recently, and this game does feel pretty low scoring and tight, to be honest with you. Stoke's last 2 games at home have ended goalless, and coincidentally the reverse fixture between these two earlier in the season was also a 0-0 draw as well, so not the best omen maybe coming into this fixture. From a Swansea perspective, they haven't won in their last 3 trips to Stoke, but I can't see there being a great deal between these two in this one. Obviously, I am recording this prediction before both teams have played in midweek as well. I think I'm edging it towards a draw. I'm going to say there'll be a couple of goals, but I'll go one apiece. Wouldn't be surprised if that does end goalless or one goal either way, but 1-1 I'm saying between those two. And then to round off this batch of games, we're going to Elland Road for the Monday night kickoff. That's between Leeds and Sunderland, and what a game this should be. The reverse fixture earlier in the season was a very watchable one. It was a 2-2 draw at the Stadium of Light. Leeds probably still kicking themselves that they didn't pick up all 3 points from that match, which they probably should have done had it not been for that calamitous Illan Meslier mistake late on in that game. But it'll be a packed out ground, great atmosphere in the home and away end, and I do think it's been a case this season where a lot of teams have sort of been unnerved by going to Leeds away. I mean, that was definitely the case with, Cardiff going there last time and Leeds put 7 goals past them. But I don't think Sunderland will quite have that. While it is a very young group, Sunderland have gone to other tough grounds so far this season and left a really good account of themselves. But I definitely do think there always seems to be something in the water for these big games at Elland Road especially, where Leeds always seem to rise to the occasion. Even thinking back to last season, they put 4 goals past Ipswich and beat them 4-0 at Elland Road. They beat Leicester 3-1 in a massive game last season as well. So generally speaking, Fox tends to manage these big games fairly well when Leeds are at home. Sunderland bring an obvious goal threat into this one. I can see both sides getting on the score sheet here. I just think when Leeds are at home though, they are a bit of a different beast. Score prediction, I'm going to go 3-1 Leeds in that game. I do fancy the home side for all 3 points there. But there you guys have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to go ahead and drop all your score predictions in the comments down below. But apart from that, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.